Hi, this is BC with the Quantum Playground, and I wanted to do a bit of a Quantum Playground toolbox on, in the vein of metaphor, and looking at what's going on out there right now in the United States, in France, in Europe, all over the place, and to see the metaphor in it, to see the theater in it. To see really all of the unfolding and the unwinding and unbinding of the false construct, which is beyond just thinking of, you know, the Democrats and the Republicans in the United States, beyond just, you know, Macron and the New World Order, the cabal, the elite, the Illuminati, you know, all sorts of names from that. So something momentous is happening right here, right now, and that is the, you know, a quantum evolution of the planet and humanity. So from the more deeply focused, constricted, different vignettes that you get, President Donald Trump and what's going on in Washington, the US, take that as an example, and the different theater that's going on. So in the unwinding and unbinding, we're becoming conscious not only to the false construct and everything that went on, but our greater beingness, the truth of who we are. So just take, again, in narrow focus, the construct. We'll just take the US for a moment. So you could take the IRS and taxes. You could take the justice system. You could take bank, trade, and finance system. You could take the school system. You could take child protective custody services. You could take vaccines. So kind of what I'm saying will absolutely hold for all those different things. None of those things are supposed to do, accomplish, stand for, facilitate what they're purported to do. They just aren't supposed to do that. They just don't do that. They were never designed to do, you know, if you look at the definition or the description of what those structures and entities are supposed to do for the American people. It's out and out deception from the get-go. So it's not broken, it's working perfectly the way it's always designed. The trouble is we're seeing that the description of that does not match, and we're revealing it to ourselves more and more. So that's part of the unfolding, and that's part of the metaphor to unwind and unbind it. If you have all of these things that are, okay, I'll use real linear, absolute a lie, an absolute distortion and an anathema to the description of what they're supposed to do. How do you tell all those beings that all these years they've been paying taxes, it was voluntary and they didn't have to? You know, how do you tell all these beings that there really isn't any justice system because it's all part of a business to make money? So as soon as you go in there in the courtroom, as soon as you've stepped over, you know, onto the bridge of their ship, that's it. There's a play that goes on, and there's a play that facilitates perpetuating the illusion of the description that describes what it is that the justice system does for you. And, you know, just like, hey, court TV, You get people engaged in the down and dirty and the fighting and, we're going to try this remedy and this thing. And yeah, they work for a while because that's how you keep the illusion going. That's how you let some of the pressure valves off of the beings who are waking up and who can see it now. That's how you let it off. Trouble is that all of the frequencies are rising and all of the expansion is rising for beings, all beings, and all of the consciousness is rising. The perspective, I'll get it right, the perspective, trying to put two words together, the perspective and the perception that you're holding of it is widening out. And so you're beginning to have bi-level consciousness and tri-level consciousness and multi-level consciousness, so that your aperture is widening in that. And so now you can see all the different things out there for the metaphor that is reflecting that back to you. So to go back for a moment in just, I think this might be a helpful metaphor to play with this. So take one of those pieces, it could be anything, we'll take justice system. How do you reveal that to people that that's been an illusion all this time? Well, with the Tennessee case and others, I've heard a lot of people say, well, that's not fair. Well, it's never been about fair. That, a fair trial was always a ruse and a mockery of that whole sentiment of what people thought that was. But as these things go, it illuminates the quote-unquote unfairness. It illuminates, oh, well, wait a minute. There is incongruency here. There is a huge dichotomy in what I'm thought and was told and what I'm seeing unfold. And so in that respect, look at Trump and all of the stuff against that. I'm formulating a way to do kind of a meme campaign on Facebook and Twitter, and then on the IUV, with the idea of this. See if I can, because I can't take a camera to go around to different places. Well, I suppose it could in this area, but. Anyways, a reporter a gentleman who has this channel that he does, I can't think of the name of it right now, but he goes to different colleges and he wants to get a sense of what people are thinking. So he went and he wrote on a piece of paper some different quotes about the wall, about immigration, about the whole idea of building a wall, building some kind of barricade fence. And so he read them out with a camera, so he's got a camera person with him, read them out to different college students and got their description. And he said, this is a Trump quote, on the wall with him. And, so he filmed their reactions and their detailed response to that. And then he said, okay, well, now what would you say if I told you that those quotes were actually, there's 3 different quotes here, and they were actually from 3 different people, and none of them was Trump. They were actually all from Democrats. What would you think about that? And the cognitive dissonance that was going on, the unwinding and unbinding in there that's going on, is actually quite lovely to watch. Because there's the moment, they have moved in their frequency, they may not have shifted in their frequency, but a whole lot of light came in and a whole lot of light bulbs went on. Not totally about Trump or the other people who gave the quotes, but in how each being who was being interviewed, walks in the world, perceives the world, uses the out there and someone else's storyline to guide their perceptions. And they were having a perception revolution within themselves in the moment of having this conversation. So, like I said, I just wanted to play in the toolbox about metaphors and the theater that's going on, And to finish this up by saying, yes, just like, you know, and I'm not comparing this to a false flag, but like in a false flag, people do get hurt, do get killed. The false flag relates to the fact that it is not what it's being described at, what and how it happened precisely, who did it and why precisely is not at all what they're describing. It's something else. Its plan is to elicit a certain aim, maybe to even off some particular people, and also it's a feeding frenzy for the Illuminati. That's why it's done on specific dates and specific ways, because all of that is louche that they can then absorb. And look into it if you don't know about that. So in the justice system, the banking system, all those kinds of things, this unwinding and unbinding that occurs when we see the attacks against Trump, or the different sides, or whatever, you know, that you're focusing on. Then look at that as a metaphor for a way to actually unwind those things within you. The attachments, then going outside of yourself, the not trusting your knowing, the not even knowing that you have a knowing, instead of just a knowing from a belief that was a belie that you took on from somebody else. That your, you know, your perception is colored by your perspective, and you're being fed your perspective. So it's a perception revolution that's going on out there within you in total. So this is just something to play that'll help you look and see the metaphor, see something going on and see it as a metaphor that's giving you a different frequency to move to go, oh yeah, and be able to be aware of more things, widen the aperture of your consciousness and your focus on it. And also realize that the theater in this is roles that beings are playing, and I say that on a couple levels. It's a metaphor for a couple levels of that. Yes, all beings came, you know, to this planet at this moment, at this time, to do all this unfolding, and so yes, those are roles that their soul is, and they, you know, all agreed to and had a planning meeting, and yeah, let's do this, you know, and it evolves moment to moment and expands beyond that, depending on how the expansion of the consciousness goes on. So that shifts and moves and widens out. There are also roles being played when there were agreements made, understandings, we'll say, were come to, of the jig being up, the cat out of the bag. You know, we got the whole enchilada of, you know, the validation of occurrences of one's behavior. And so then there are roles to play, because, again, going back to how do you unwind and unbind, if people were ensnared in the false construct, they believe it's real, and bringing the revealing what's true out of all of that, and also aiding, setting up the metaphor that can shift someone's frequency, move their frequency, and aid them to wake up, aid them to unwind and unbind within themselves, aid them in integrating all of this. Then if you have where they are focused, so an example of people are focused on the Democrats, and you know, they're absolutely the best, and anything that's not a Democrat, or most of these Democrats, particularly not the orange man, you know, then, but when they see that there's so much incongruity coming, there's so much divisiveness, but beyond just the idea of divisiveness, they can see through it. The metaphor is becoming so big that it's really hard to, you can't see around it, because all you can see is that, and it's really right in your face. So anyways, play with that. It's just another way to really, you know, pull it out of your toolbox to help you navigate, to help others navigate what's going on. And like I said, I'll see if I can figure out a way to do kind of a memes where they follow on each other as I'm hoping there'll be reactions to some of the ones I first put out, and then I can put, you know, raw feed video of actual on camera, so there's no misconstruing it. It's the face and the voice of what I just put in as a quote, you know, in the meme. Maybe reflecting it on someone else purportedly saying it, but the real author of that will come through. So play with that, because that helps everyone see that it's irrefutable. They have to, and it's not so much about out there in the actual quote. That's not why I'm nudged to do it. What I'm nudged to do is because it allows people to meet themselves right then and there, to shift and see that meme is a metaphor that helps them move their frequency and how they perceive things, how they let someone else give them, direct them, dictate their perceptions is unmistakable. And that's the magic. When we can see that for ourselves, because we're the only one who can do it. It's an inside job. I love you.